Allô, Nissan? Hey, grosse tempête, hein?
Hey, Karine, oui, je sais, les vilains bonhommes de neige sont de retour.
Mais avec le Nissan Rogue à traction intégrale, c'est pas stressant.
Exact, il est conçu et testé pour nos hivers. Oh, Karine, il y a un bonhomme dans le Rogue.
Ah, c'est correct. J'ai allumé les sièges chauffants.
Ah, bien joué, Karine. Maîtrisez toutes les conditions. Louez le Rogue S 2026 à partir de 0,4% jusqu'à 36 mois, incluant une réduction fidélité de 0,5% pour les clients Nissan admissibles. Jusqu'au 2 mars, sur approbation de crédit, les conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, let's talk about time, and I'm really excited about our next guest. Our next guest, I would dare say, is a modern-day hero. Why? Because he wants to make sure we don't change our clocks twice a year. Jeremy Roberts is a member of provincial parliament in Ontario for the Ottawa West-Nepean riding. Jeremy, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
You have tabled a bill, Bill 214. It is called the Time Amendment Act. I love the name of this, by the way.
Pretty catchy, eh?
It is. It's very catchy. Tell me what it's all about. What do you want to see have happen here?
Well, you know, I can't imagine I'm the only one who has trouble every time we do this time change, trying to figure out how to change your clock in the car. But you know, I started doing some research a couple years ago into the biannual time change that happens across most of Canada, and found a whole slew of negative side effects associated with the time change. And so I've put forward a bill in the Ontario legislature that would end the biannual time change and would move us to permanent daylight savings time. And we're hoping to really spark a conversation right across the region, and perhaps get Quebec to come along as well.
Now, Jeremy, it seems like when I talk to people about this issue, the vast majority of people are in favor of a proposal like this. Do you have any stats, any data that says, hey, you know what, this is going to be popular as well?
Well, you know, I've heard from a whole bunch of people since I introduced this last week, right across Ontario, and some folks in Quebec as well. And the feedback has been tremendously positive. You know, the one thing that comes up time and time again is folks say they would love to have a bit of daylight when they get home from work or pick up their kids from school. And of course, after the fall back change that we're going to have at the end of the month, it's going to be pretty dark when folks get home from work. So I think it's a pretty topical time to talk about this.
Yeah, and boy, is it ever depressing how early the sun goes down over the winter. Jeremy, we're going to get to the support and the help you need from neighboring states and provinces. But first, in Ontario, you think this bill's going to pass? You got the support on this one?
Well, so far it passed through second reading in our parliament with unanimous support from the government and the opposition. So there's still a few more stages to go. We got to get it through committee next, but so far a lot of positive support in the government for sure. So I think we're on the right track. But you're right. We're going to need to get our neighbors on board as well.
So why is the support of Quebec and New York so critical to this bill?
Well, so there have been a couple of attempts in Ontario to get this done before, and all of them would have just sort of had Ontario do this unilaterally. And I don't think that quite takes into account some of the logistical challenges. Obviously, Quebec and Ontario both benefit from being in the same time zone as the markets in New York City. So we want to maintain that commonality. And in terms of Quebec and Ontario, beyond all the tremendous trade and business that happens between the two provinces, we also have a bit of a local Ottawa issue, and that's that half the federal government is headquartered in downtown Ottawa, and the other half is across the river in Gatineau. And so if we were to do this change in Ontario without having Quebec follow suit, we'd have an awkward problem where half the federal government would be on one time and the other half would be on another. So, you know, that and a number of other reasons, I think, make it, tremendously important that we try and get a regional consensus on this and make sure Quebec and New York are on board as well if Ontario is going to do this.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't be ideal to have someone leave their house at one time and then they cross the bridge into the other province and they've got to change their clocks. We're with Jeremy Roberts. He's a member of Ontario's provincial parliament for the Ottawa West-Nepean riding. He's trying to get this bill through, Bill 214, the Time Amendment Act, so that we stop this charade of changing our clocks twice a year. Jeremy, you said you looked into this quite a bit. When you're going to talk to your colleagues in Quebec, your counterparts in New York State, what is the case that you're going to make to them politically, safety, anyway, to say, hey, let's all do this?
Well, so I think the political argument's pretty clear. As you and I spoke about earlier, there's just so much tremendous support for this. I've heard from so many people who want to see this happen. But beyond that, I'll be making the case that there's actually a lot of research to show that the time change has a lot of negative side effects. There's a study that found it leads to a spike in depression rates. Another study that found increased heart attacks. Another one that found more fatal vehicle collisions, so more car crashes. The list goes on. And on the flip side, there's actually some studies that show that moving us to permanent daylight savings time, getting us that extra bit of daylight in the afternoon when we get home, could actually be a boost for our small businesses because people are more likely to want to go out shopping or go out to a restaurant when they get home from work if it's still sunny out. So, obviously right across the world, and certainly Canada, a lot of our small businesses are struggling right now. So, something like this could help give them a little bit of a boost as well. So that's the case I'm going to be making to my counterparts in Quebec and in New York and anywhere else that's interested as well. Is that we should look at the data, look at the research, and make a decision on that.
Jeremy, I want to ask you about COVID-19 and if you feel this pandemic we're going through tips the scales or helps your argument in any way with more people at home?
It's a good question. This was something I was thinking about long before COVID started, and I think the case can be made based on the data, regardless of whether or not COVID is happening. And again, I go back to that desire to have a bit more sunlight in the evenings. Even if folks are working at home, they're still doing Zoom calls right up until the end of the day. They've still got their kids perhaps doing homework from home, or if they're going to school, coming home from school. And so we'd still have that opportunity if we were to do this to make sure you had some more sunlight when you got home at the end of the day. And maybe it could be something to give everyone a little perk up in these challenging times.
Jeremy, you're a progressive conservative. How is your party and your province and your boss, Doug Ford, doing tackling COVID-19?
It has been a tremendous challenge, but I think we're doing what we need to do to protect Ontarians. We've had to make some tough decisions, obviously, the past couple of months, but every decision we're making, we're doing it in concert with our health advisors and our doctors to try and make sure we can keep Ontarians safe.
Jeremy Roberts is a member of Ontario's provincial parliament for Ottawa West-Nepean. Thanks so much for coming on the program, and I wish you all the success in the world getting rid of these darned time changes.
Well, really appreciate that. And to all your listeners in Montreal, please reach out to your local MNA as well and see if you can convince them to get this discussion going in Quebec's parliament as well.
We're on it, and give us a call if you're listening at give us a text at 514-800. I'd love to know what you think about this on our text line, 514-800. Thanks so much, Jeremy. Take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye.